And so again, I'm Sarah Birch, she, her pronouns, Associate Director of Admissions and Recruitment for the Brown School. So glad to have a nice small group join us today. And I'm joined by two colleagues one from the Brown School and one from the law school. So I'll ask Dan to introduce himself and then Claire.
Sure. Thanks, Sarah. And hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday, as Sarah was saying, 2/22/22. I'm Dan Ferris. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the Assistant Dean for Policy Initiatives over the MSP program at the Brown School. I also lead training and education initiatives at the Social Policy Institute at Washington University in St. Louis. Claire?
Yes, thanks, Dan. Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everybody. My name is Claire O'Brien. I work in the admissions office at the law school, and I am super excited to be with you today.
Thank you both. And since it's a small group of us, would you all mind taking yourself off mute or sharing in the chat where you're joining us from, what program, if you've already been admitted to one, it would likely be the law school, but yeah, how you came to find the JD MSP. And I'll start with Hannah.
Sure, my name is Hannah. I use she, they pronouns. I'm currently in like a private room in Oberlin's library. I have class at 1:30, so I'll just be here for a little bit. And I've been admitted to the law school, but I'm very, very interested in law as like a vehicle of policy. So I'm really interested in both degrees.
Wonderful. Thanks for being here, Hannah. Megan?
Hi, sorry, it took me a minute to find my mute button. My name is Megan Lingerman. I actually work at the School of Medicine, and I got my MA in nonprofit management from University College in 2013. But I've recently been interested in racial equity primarily, and that drew me to the Brown School. But when I saw that there was a joint degree program with social policy and JD, I felt like that was a perfect fit for what I was looking for.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining, Megan. Rosalind?
Hi, my name's Rosalind. I'm sorry, I'm having sound trouble right now, so I'm a little bit in and out. But I am currently in the law school at WashU, and I am interested in social work and social policy in general, so I just thought I would gather some information.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining. Right, and then Bria, if you'd like to introduce yourself, we're just going around and doing introductions since it's a small group of us. If you'd rather introduce yourself in the chat, that's completely fine too. I know some of us might be eating our lunch or doing other things while participating.
Hi, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I am interested in the social policy as well as possibly the public health after finding out a little bit more about that yesterday. I'm curious about what tuition would look like. So I'd like to learn more about that in addition to like what that extra year or however many like extra credits you need would look like. But I'm excited because I see the need for like this kind of supplement in the legal curriculum when you want to do something that's beyond the courtroom. So I'm looking forward to learning about what the joint JD is about. Thank you.
Thank you, Bria. Appreciate that. Emily. Or Olivia.
I can jump on. Sorry, I didn't expect it to be such a small group, so I'm not quite done up this morning. But I'm admitted to the law school, very excited about that. And something that I really questioned myself on before I applied to law was whether it was law or policy that I was really interested in. And then I realized and learned that it doesn't have to be one or the other. So I think that, dual degrees wasn't really on my radar. And even though it might be a little late to the game, I'm definitely thinking about applying to a dual degree program within master's in public policy or social policy for my second year of law school. So yeah, excited to be here.
Fantastic. Great. We're glad you're here too. And Emily, thanks for being here. I know you're in transit, so no worries at all. All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. I'm going to share my screen. I need to find the right screen to share though. One of those days where I have all of the windows open on my computer. Okay. All right. Everyone seeing the slideshow in full effect? Wonderful. Go ahead and get started then. So just to begin here, and I'll certainly have my colleagues join me in kind of explaining, what the strengths of this joint degree are, but the JD MSP joint degree really is, I think I heard someone say this, at the crux of law and social policy, and brings together these two distinct fields to really make an impact at community and population levels, and an impact that advances social justice, equity, and societal, and maintain systems that really help people. I think that's kind of at the heart of this. It's for students who really have an interest in helping others. And so there's some really, distinct tools you can gain from both the law school and the MSP program at the Brown School to make that really impactful, difference in your community. Dan, I'll let you kind of talk about what you see as kind of the strengths of putting these two degrees together and how this joint opportunity kind of came to be.
Absolutely. So as folks have already said in their introductions, there are some really clear and obvious intersections between law and policy, which I think is reflected in terms of student interest, and then also where students are going in their careers in terms of the work that you want to do, not only inside the classroom during your time at Washington University, but very much looking forward. I'd also just offer in terms of that intersection, the really great overlaps between the missions of the Brown School and Law School around ethical legal practice, advancing equity on the Brown School side, and also just take a moment to talk about why social policy is the joint degree opportunity here. As we think about social policy very explicitly being about interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary work, looking at community and equity-centered solutions to achieve inclusive society that is socially, racially, and economically just. And I'd also just kind of mention, and this cuts back into those connections between the amazing advanced legal and law training that you can receive at the School of Law, as well as the coursework and the opportunities at the Brown School, that the curriculum of the joint degree is as much interested in the equitable and ethical processes as much as the outcomes. And we think that what's one of the things we're the most excited about with this really great partnership and combination of graduate programs.
Thanks, Dan. Anything to add, Claire?
Yes, I just think that I would echo everything that you've both shared. I think that law is a powerful tool, so you can use appellate practice to create new laws and to shape laws, and policy should inform, right, the way that you use the law, and understanding the populations that you're impacting and working with to make the best decisions possible is necessary and extremely powerful. So I think that these are definitely a natural complement to one another.
Thanks, Claire. So moving right along to kind of get to the nuts and bolts of what the joint degree entails. It's a 4-year program. And so, the beauty of adding this MSP degree if you're already in the JD or accepted to the JD program is that it's just an additional year of study. And it's 2 semesters at the Brown School where you'll spend a fall and a spring and then wrap up with a summer. That equates to 31 credit hours. And then your 5 semesters at the School of Law, 77 credit hours. So 108 credit hours in total. New WashU students would begin their JD coursework in their first year. However, there's some flexibility, but I think with this one, the ideal trajectory is going to be either after your second year of law school or at the end. And Dan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, or Claire, you can correct me if I'm wrong on kind of order of operation for how to enter the MSP.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I mean, for new students to WashU, would then into the joint degree would start in the first year of law school, and then really after that first year, there's flexibility where students would enter the MSP, in the fall following their application year. So it sounds like we have some current law school students, which is great, as well as some prospective students. So no matter where you are, either in your prospective or current time, with WashU. There's that pathway and kind of program modeling, and we're happy to talk with anyone about kind of considerations around course planning and curriculum, around like some of the different options about where to kind of use that policy year in your studies.
Great, thank you. That actually dovetails beautifully into the next thing that we're going to talk about, which is coursework. And so from the MSP side of things, and I'll let Dan kind of talk about this a little bit more, but your first 2 semesters are all about classroom coursework. So there's foundation coursework where you're taking 5 classes that range in these topic areas that you see on the screen: economics, policy analysis, politics of policy, management, and statistics. You have some elective credits that you can use in a variety of ways, and I'll let Dan kind of expand upon that. And then the MSP is known for these really great short intensive courses that pack in a lot of really, I think just very one of the courses is called hands-on meta-analysis, but hands-on, really practical tools that you use in the real world. And so Dan, I'll let you kind of expand upon courses in the MSP program.
Yeah, happy to. So, foundations, electives, short intensive coursework, what we're hoping students come away with from this coursework, is, both specific tangible skills, new knowledge, as well as increased networks in terms of the policy areas and topics that they're really passionate about and interested in, and where they want to make a difference. I'll offer just kind of to frame the curriculum. So in the field of policy is a science, policy is a field. There are 3 traditional lanes or trajectories for policy careers. There's activism and advocacy in one, there's research and analysis in another, and there's administrative management leadership in a third. Obviously, some people in their policy careers focus in on one of those 3. Others kind of span across. But really, regardless, to be effective in your policy practice or policy research, to be able to understand deeply and work with, if not within, each of those 3 couldn't be more critical. And the policy curriculum is really geared for exposing students and building that knowledge and that foundation in economics, in statistics, in management, politics, of course, and policy analysis. And so as you'll see through the foundation coursework, over 40 policy adjacent electives, specifically at the Brown School, that you can choose from. And then obviously these short intensives that Sarah mentioned are a real hallmark of the program. They're advanced new each year by WashU faculty and policy practitioners and professionals more broadly in the field. And so the menu of courses is designed to allow students to choose topics of interest. Some might be brand new to them and outside of their wheelhouse, others more familiar, but also to engage in some of that very community and cohort building opportunity, from the very first moment that you're stepping into the program and the policy coursework.
Thanks, Dan.
And then I just say that all leads to and springboards into a culminating MSP internship. which Sarah, if there's anything that you wanted to say about this specifically, or I'll just jump in to offer, it's such an incredible springboard to apply classroom learned information, knowledge, and practice skills in real world policy environments. And so after you've completed your policy coursework, there's a full-time summer internship or fellowship, or we work with students in a wide range of interests. Some of that happens right here in St. Louis, as we'll show you on the next slide. Others, do their work globally in Washington, D.C. Obviously, a little bit of policy happens there from time to time, if I'm not mistaken. Typically, students, again, are choosing, internship opportunities and pursuing these in ways that kind of match with the lanes of policy practice that they're interested in advancing in their career. So work with social sector organizations or nonprofits, government agencies, elected official offices, policy think tanks. These are all really great opportunities for students to apply, again, classroom learned knowledge and policy intersecting with law, to be sure. And we just wanted to kind of both show and tell about, what kind of opportunities our students have pursued previously. And so again, students have worked locally here in St. Louis with the Federal Reserve Bank, with nonprofit organizations that do incredible policy and advocacy work like NAMI, St. Louis, with research centers. And we also see students going in other trajectories and paths, working on Capitol Hill with the Office of Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz previously, or working for Berkshire Hathaway, and thinking about the intersections of policy and corporate world. So there's a number of different trajectories and ways that students think about their internship experience. And you have a dedicated Office of Field Education support, from the Brown School to help to support you in this, as well as obviously continued connections and support from the law school.
Great. Thanks, Dan. And so speaking of the law school, I'll turn it now to Claire to talk about JD coursework.
Yes, so in terms of the JD side, students must satisfactorily complete the following graduation requirements for the JD degree. So mandatory first year courses, and these are your foundational black letter law. You would find this at all ABA law schools across the country: civil procedure, contracts, legal research and writing, criminal law, property. So your basic courses first year. Then in order to graduate, you also need an ethics course at some point during your legal education. You must take a seminar, and then 6 units of experiential credits. So that's a clinic or an externship. And you need at least 86 credit hours to graduate from the law program. Notice that as part of the JD dual degree, or the dual degree, we said you need 77 credits from law. We will accept 9 credit hours from the MSP program, and we very much keep it open by design on what we accept. We do not have, we will only accept these credits or these credits, because by the nature of the MSP is so unique to each student. So somebody might be interested in environmental work, somebody might be interested in public health or some other area, and we will transfer 9 credits from the program without much stipulation at all, because we want to support what you are specifically interested in. So, and then finally, you must remain in good academic standing, and that is keeping a GPA of at least a 3.0 to graduate. So as long as you complete your first year courses, complete a seminar, complete an ethics course, and the 6 units of experiential credits, and you do that in the 77 credit hours, we'll transfer 9 from the Brown School. So any questions, let me know.
Great. Thanks, Claire.
Thank you.
And so just to kind of round this out and touch on the career paths that you can expect to step into graduating from the JD MSP. Really, I think this kind of just drives home all of the things that we've been discussing. Ability to, either go into legal practice and lead that through ethical and effective lenses, where you're really pursuing interests in social justice and equity. It also builds a lot of opportunity for collaboration. I think as a school, as a university, WashU is a very collaborative place. The joint degree in and of itself is very collaborative in nature. And so you walk away with those really great skills to be able to collaborate across sectors and with diverse stakeholders that can make really strong impact. And then also partnership with the community. Is kind of another hallmark of Brown School and in law school education, is ensuring that the work that's being done is very community driven, based on evidence, and in partnership with those that these laws and policy are meant to support. So anything to add from my colleagues, Dan or Claire? All right, with an eye on time, I'll quickly just go over application requirements and leave a couple minutes here for questions if anyone has any. But for the MSP, we ask for the transcripts. Those can be unofficial transcripts until you're ready to matriculated into the MSP program. So just unofficial for the application. Your personal statement, a resume or a CV, letters of recommendation, and then there's an application fee. Dan, any thoughts, tips, words of advice for the application?
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite questions to get and one of my favorite questions to answer. So when we think about what makes effective or an impactful application, and particularly around the personal statement, what we're looking for is connection to the conversation we're having today. We're really looking for how, in this case, a joint degree in law and policy are advancing your academic and your professional goals, and what specific pieces of the curriculum really speak to you or sing to you or dance to you. I don't know, whichever verb we're using on Tuesday, to be sure. So in addition to that, I'd offer, just kind of echoing what I've heard, Sarah and other of my amazing admissions colleagues, say before, which is to really, to be yourself. This is our chance to get to know you as an applicant. And from the very kind of first moment that you're interacting with the school, the more that we're able to learn about you and your interests, the better we're able to support you, through every step of the process, admissions through at some point graduation, and also, as a professional in the field.
And then
Claire, go ahead.
All right, on the JD side, we also request transcripts, a personal statement, a resume, letters of recommendation, anywhere from 2 to 4 typically are what candidates will submit. Many people just submit 2, that's fine. We require, in almost all circumstances, an LSAT or GRE score. And then we encourage addenda. So if you want to include a diversity statement, if you have something you want to clarify regarding your character and fitness to practice law, or we welcome that kind of addenda and keep our application generally very open. So you can submit any statement that you're called to submit. So.
Thanks, Claire. And as far as our application deadlines go, Brown School does have an application deadline coming up on March 1. However, we accept applications on a rolling basis. And so if March 1, it is right around the corner 1 week from today. If that's looking like it's going to be too tight of a turnaround, no worries. Please submit your application when you are ready. Of course, we do have, a final deadline of sometime in July if you're hoping to join us for the fall or sooner. So just keep in touch with the admissions office as you're working on your application. And then finally, to touch on the tuition structure, I know this was a question as well. And so how this kind of works in the joint degree is that you're assessed tuition and fees based on the school that you're primed to. So the school that you're essentially doing most of your classes with, which for 2 semesters will be MSP, for 5 semesters will be JD. So when you're in those semesters, that's the tuition and fees you'll be assessed. I know for 2022-23, tuition was recently announced. And so I'm happy to share those numbers with you if you're curious about what that's going to look like for the upcoming academic year. And then we do award scholarship. I know Brown School and Law School those are awarded and then would be applied during the semesters that you're primed to the school that you got the scholarship from. And Megan, good question. Just to be clear, do you apply to law first and during your second, third year, then apply to Brown? You can do whatever you'd like. You can submit whenever at the same time. You can apply to law and MSP, or you can wait and apply in your first or second year. Is that right, Dan? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, we support students in either pathway. Some students won't even learn of the joint degree, for example, until they're here and into their coursework. Other students, we also appreciate students' interest in planning, and you're making a decision about where to go to graduate school and where to go to law school. And so understanding like kind of the full package, including your scholarship decision for both sides and all of those pieces, we know is a critical part of that decision-making process. So if you're a prospective student, you're definitely welcome to apply into both programs, but either way, you'd be starting into the JD program, as your first year, and then coming over to Brown as your second year.
Perfect.
Great question.
Thanks, Dan. And so I know we are at our time, 30 minutes flies by. And so I have time right now. If anyone would like to stay on, if you have time, I'm happy to answer questions. I'll go ahead and stop recording. However, if you do need to leave, we completely understand that. And so if you'd like to reach out, you can reach Brown Admissions by just emailing brownadmissions@worcester.edu, and then law school is applylaw@worcester.edu.